It's your boy Wits Capone, back with another video. And today, like I said in my other videos, the most recent one, I said that how I'm going to bring you some new content to the channel. So today I thought, why not bring you lot a preview between the Arsenal and Newcastle game. So obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, and we're playing Newcastle at 12:30 kickoff today. Obviously this preview is a bit late, but I thought, nah, let me just do one in it, because I've never done one and put one out on YouTube before, innit, you get me? So yeah, man, literally I feel like for this game we need to play Pepe rather than play Saka, because I feel like Saka's very good, but I feel like we're burning him out. And I feel like with Pepe is more clinical at goal than Saka. Like, do you know what I mean? So I just feel like we should play Pepe over Saka. And I know Pepe is very, very frustrating to watch at times, yeah. But at the same time, if you was to put 3 1-on-1s to Saka and Pepe, who's scoring them 3 1-on-1s 9 times out of 10? Pepe. So for me, Pepe has to start in it. You get me? And plus, obviously, Newcastle just lost their manager recently, Steve Bruce. You get me? Now they got Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe hasn't been on the touchline as well for Newcastle due to COVID. He had COVID and all of that. You get me? It's only now that apparently he's going to be at the dugout for the Arsenal game. So yeah, man, we have to use this to our advantage as well, because Eddie Howe hasn't really had time to implement his tactics with the Newcastle players. So we as Arsenal fans have realised that we can take advantage out of the situation, and surely the players as well know that they can take advantage out of the situation as well. You get me? And that's one thing as well, like with Arsenal as well, yeah. Every single time it's always us, like we always miss out on players. Like, I know this has got nothing to do with the preview, but me, I'm very passionate about my club, innit? Like every single time, 9 times out of 10, when we're linked with a player, we never give the team what they really want if we really want that player. Next thing you know, a next team comes from the back, and then they take the player, and then the player's theirs. We're always stingy with it. If you really want a player, you have to pay over the odds sometimes. That's just how it works. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, but back to what I was like talking about. Like, yeah, man, like every single time we give as well, before I go into what I was really talking about as well, another thing, we always give players contracts undeserved at this club as well. Prime example, Lacazette. Obviously he's been good this season for parts of it. He's been very good, but it's always when before they get a contract they're playing very well. As soon as they get the contract, they put their foot off the gas. Aubameyang's a prime example of that. And me, I'm a big fan of Aubameyang's. Do you know what I mean? Big fan of Aubameyang's. But you just have to say it as it is. Like, he's slowed down a lot. Like, you have to play the ball to him for him to score. He's not one of them players anymore where, do you know what I mean? Like, he will make things happen for himself. He's not a Thierry Henry, let's be real. Henry is one of them players where he can have a quiet game for like 80 minutes. That's when he would have his bad games. Imagine, for 80 minutes, he would pop up with one world-class moment. Game finished, bye, end of story. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of them ones where in our squad as well, we need to implement winning mentalities as well at our club. Because yeah, it's all good, well and good blaming the manager. I blame the manager as well, because me, I'm an Arteta out guy. You get me? I'm not an Arteta in guy. Just because we've won some games, we're on the streak. That's our problem as well as Arsenal fans. A lot of our Arsenal fans and a lot of our fan base, they're so delusional. They think, oh yeah, because we've picked up momentum and we've won a lot of games, it means that all of a sudden now they're back on side with Arteta. It shouldn't work like that. You can't be reactionary. Do you know what I mean? You cannot be reactionary. Like, I remember I grew up in a time where Arsenal were Arsenal. I grew up seeing Arsenal winning things. Obviously, I was just about old enough to witness the Invincibles. Just about old enough, yeah. Do you know what I mean? I remember my first ever Arsenal game I watched was in that season. It was the Arsenal versus Man United game when Thierry Henry beat Andy Carroll when the ball swerved and it went that way. Yeah, that's the first football match that I watched with understanding. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, man, like we need to learn from a lot of these players. Obviously, I understand we don't have the personnel to do so, but at the same time, this boils down to the coach, because at the end of the day, the coach is the one that gets the best out of you. If you're a coach and you can't get the best out of your players, then what are you doing? You're a professional coach. You get me? It's not like you're working at non-league or semi-pro or things like that. You're a professional coach at the top level. You get me? You should know how to do certain things. You should know. And for all these guys that say, he learned under Pep, so that means he's a good manager. No, it doesn't mean he's a good manager. He was an assistant for a reason. He's a sideman. Arteta's a sideman. You get me? But in terms of my score predictions that I'm gonna predict for today's game, what am I gonna go for? I'm gonna go for 3-0 Arsenal. And to score, this one's a bit of a tricky one. I'm not even gonna lie. He's gonna get the 3 goals for Arsenal today. You know what? I'm backing our striker, our talisman, Aubameyang today. I'm backing Aubameyang today to get a goal. So my scores will be Aubameyang. Who else? Aubameyang. Trying to think, because I'm not trying to just rush it. I'm trying to think properly. So Aubameyang, that's one. Maybe Gabriel, because Gabriel's been on a run lately. Not even lately. He's like overall, he's just a solid centre back. Like there's not many strikers that make Gabriel look vulnerable. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, like Gabriel, he's even scored in a couple of the games recently as well. So yeah, Gabriel. And my final pick would be final pick. This one's a tough one, you know. This one's a tough one still. Depends. It depends. You know what? Fuck it. Let me just throw a wild name out there, bruv. Surely it's not gonna be Oneni. I'll tell you that for free. You know what? Even though I don't really rate this guy, but I think he will score for some reason. So I'm gonna say Erdegaard. He's gonna score. So those are my 3 goal scorers. You get me? So yeah, man, I just thought I would do a different video on my channel today, because obviously like I normally bring you lot different sort of content. So I thought, nah, you know what? Let me bring some football content to my channel as well. You get me? Because obviously everybody that knows me knows my social media, goes on my stories, whether it be on Instagram and so forth and so forth. Everyone knows that I'm a big football fan. I'm a crazy Arsenal fan, die hard, all of that. You get me? So yeah, man. And Newcastle as well, they're not a team to be taken lightly as well, because Joe Willock is on loan. Joe Willock has gone to them on loan. You get me? And I'm not even sure. He probably misses this game. Probably. I'm not too sure. But obviously, they've got threat. Newcastle have got threat. They're not a team just to take lightly and be complacent with. They got the likes of Saint Maximum. See, if you give this guy too much space, he's rapid as well. Like he will get in behind your right back and left backs in seconds. So we have to like double up on him, because I think the main threat is gonna come from Saint Maximum. Another player to watch out for their team is Almiron. You get me? That guy is a very, very tricky individual, very, very, very good player. Do you know what I mean? I feel like he's very underrated in the Premier League as well. Who else can we look out for? Lechelle's. That's if he's playing. You get me? Lechelle's is a very, very compact centre back. Deals like he reminds me of an old school centre back. Do you know what I mean? He reminds me of like a John Terry. Obviously not in terms of ability, obviously not. But in terms of his game and how he plays, he's just no nonsense. You get me? Obviously nowadays a lot of centre backs are like ball carrying centre backs, but he's like a flashback from the past where he sees the ball, he doesn't really like to dribble with it. You just clear it. But at the end of the day, I like that because as a defender, that's your job, to get the ball far out of the from your box. Do you know what I mean? Because the more times you get it out your box, the more unlikely you're gonna concede. Do you know what I mean? So it's as simple as that. Like literally, they got a good keeper as well in Dubravka. I really rate Dubravka as well. Not many people rate him like that, but me, I don't just watch my team play. I watch other football teams play as well. And yeah, that's another thing. Wagwan for Tottenham fans though, losing to NS Mura and that. You get me? When we lost to Liverpool and that, these man had chatting shit, all of this. Giving verbal and that. But you can't even beat the last the last team in your group in the UEFA Conference League. I'd rather not be in the UEFA Conference League because that competition's a laughing stock. You get me? Absolute joke. You get me? Harry Kane looks like he don't want to be there for you, man. That's just me being honest. Bergwijn barely starts anymore. He looks like a liability. Don't even get me started on that useless guy Davinson Sanchez, bruv. That guy is always getting spun, fam. He's always getting spun like a blade. Like, this is madness. Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, man, I just feel like even though I dislike Tottenham a lot, as you can see, because I'm an Arsenal fan, I feel like if Tottenham give Antonio Conte, like a big budget to spend, which I doubt because they're even in debt as well. But if they give Conte that backing to get the players he wants and all of that, because in a way Conte reminds me of like Mourinho in a sense where he thrives on like getting their experienced players, bringing them together, then creating a title-winning team. But unfortunately, let's be real, Tottenham don't have that mentality to go with it. You get me? Plus, they don't have the personnel to go with it. If you're having man like Harry Winks and that, how do you expect to win a league? Like, it's that simple. Like, you feel me? I'm not trying to say it from like, obviously I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm not trying to say it from a biased point of view because obviously I'm doing content, so I have to look at it logically, innit? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, like, literally, that was embarrassing. Like, and the reason why I'm saying Davinson Sanchez is a mess as well, yeah? He was the reason for them lot conceding the first goal. That's bad. You think that's bad? The second goal, 90 plus 4 minutes added on stoppage time and that. He makes the mistake. Cool. They play it round to their winger. The next thing you know, the winger and Davinson Sanchez has met up now. You get me? He kind of the winger turns him like how Messi turned Jerome Boateng, turned him disgustingly. Then you know them ones when you just like hit on hope and see where it goes. Because obviously coaches teach you at a young age. Always pull your strike off. You never know where the ball's gonna go, innit? Shot, deflected off Davinson Sanchez and went in. I was thinking, rah, how you losing, yeah, to NS Mora? That's shocking. Like, I don't even think they play in their own stadium, fam. That's embarrassing, fam. Like, literally, you get me. And obviously as well, I'm not one of them Arsenal fans that's gonna act like we're not shit because we're shit as well. Arsenal, we've been shit for a long time. But the difference is, I can admit that we're shit. Some of our fan base as well is ridiculous. It's like they have a fan fest for Arteta or something like. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, nah, man. I'll be real. when Arteta first came into Arsenal, I was convinced in the early stages, innit? I wasn't convinced, but I was convinced in the sense where when he done his first press conference, he was saying all the right things. So I was like, nah, you know what? Let me give Arteta a chance because he sounds like he knows what he's talking about, innit? You know them ones there? Cool. So obviously now, as time was going past, as time's going by, every press conference is getting worse, and worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, nah, like, that's the thing about us Arsenal fans, like, not even us, some Arsenal fans, they're very reactionary. As soon as he loses 3-4 games, is Arteta out. As soon as he wins and he goes on a 6-7 games winning game streak, all of a sudden is Arteta in, let's give him a chance, rete. It's just the same thing, season in, season out. And it shouldn't be like that. Arsenal, we're a big club, you know. We're a big fucking club. We need to start acting like it. Do you know what I mean? Like, we need to start acting like a big club because we're not a meaty club. That's why a lot of the new generation nowadays, when you mention supporting Arsenal to them nowadays, they just laugh because everyone knows that we're a laughing stock now. Do you know what I mean? We're not the club that we once were. Do you know what I mean? Why do you think when the king, big up the king, Thierry Henry and that, you get me, my goat, why do you think when I can't remember what game it is, they asked him when Granit Xhaka plays, do you watch a lot of his games? He said no, he just turns off the TV. Because watching players like that is not inspiring at all. Do you know what I mean? I grew up on watching players like Ronaldinho, flipping Cafu, Drogba, Henry, Andrei Shevchenko, Ivan Rakoba, Diego Tristan, Valeron, Lucio, Lilian Thuram, Juan, Ross Clark, Alexandre Del Piero, David Trezeguet. The list goes on for days. I'm even going to continue because I miss how football used to be, but I'll be so real. You get me? I miss how football used to be. Joaquin, that Valencia team, when they had Joaquin, David Silva, David Villa, the goalkeeper as well, Canizares. If you know your football, you would know what I'm talking about. You get me? A lot of football fans nowadays, they're just like stats. And it's not all the time that stats mean anything. You get me? Even with assists. Someone can get put on corners and all them corners are counting as assists for them. Do you know what I mean? So you can't always look at stats as if it's gospel. Do you know what I mean? You can't look at stats like that. That's why sometimes when you're looking at stats, you have to look at it with caution. Do you know what I mean? You have to look at it with caution. I'm not saying stats don't mean anything at all, because they do to a degree. But at the same time, you have to look at it from a different perspective as well. You get me? So, yeah, man. You get me? Let me just take my 2 sips and that of my water. But yeah, man, as a big club that we are, we need to start operating properly. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like, Stan Kroenke, like, we can't even blame him. Even though I can't stand the guy. I don't want him at our club and that. It's one of them ones where we can't even moan at him because he's given us the piece to spend this season. But we've just spent it on bullshit. You get me? We spend it on the positions we need, yes. But we don't spend it on players that are going to get us back to the top level. That's my frustrations with the club. You get me? And me, I'm talking for the fan that doesn't get to watch Arsenal every week at the Emirates. You get me? I'm talking from a fan that watches the matches at home because more time you can't afford it. I'm talking for them kind of fans. You get me? I'm not talking for the match-going fans that go every day and they have the opportunity because, still they're Arsenal fans. I love Arsenal fans. If you're an Arsenal fan, I fuck with you, innit? You get it? It's one of them ones. But I hate when certain match-going fans look down at fans that watch football at home. Maybe it's because sometimes in certain families, people can't afford to go. It's that simple. Do you know what I mean? And another thing as well nowadays, like, Arsenal's, like, we've turned so soft, man, honestly, from the players' mentality to how things are run at the club. Like, Arsenal, it was not like that. Remember, I grew up in Arsenal's golden era. You get me? I grew up in the Invincible season. I remember my auntie got me my very, very, very first Arsenal kit. Back in the days, even on my Instagram, the yellow and blue one, the 0-2 one, when Robert Perez scored that goal where he came from an angle and he just banged it top corner, top bins and that. You get me? Top right and that. I had that kit. Because, you get me, like, come on, man. Even, for example, Thierry Henry, which is my favourite player of all time. He's part of the reason why I got into football in the first place, yeah? And support Arsenal in the first place. With him, I remember, like, when I was in primary school, playing football and that, like, literally nearly everybody at my school at the time, when we would play football, everyone wanted to imitate and play like Thierry Henry. You think people now are saying, oh, yeah, I want to play and be like Lacazette. Or I want to play and be like flipping, I don't know, Aubameyang. Even though Aubameyang is very good, come on, their levels, they're not comparable. Do you know what I mean? Their levels are not comparable at all. You feel me? Obviously, I understand that, like, sometimes we have to take a lot of steps back to move forward. But we've been trusting this process for like how long, bro? Like how long? How long? Last time we won the league, I haven't even gone through puberty yet. You get me? That's how mad it is. So we need to stop making our excuses. Oh, we need to build our youth. Like every season is a different excuse. Are certain man not tired of it, bruv? You get me? Are certain man not tired of it? That's why me personally, I'm not gonna sit here and say just after like a couple good results, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh yeah, Arteta in. Because why? I'm not reactionary. Because I see the bigger picture and I see the problems. I'm not letting all these victories that we're getting now distract me from the real problems. You get me? So, yeah, man. Like I said, as well, before I go, my predictions for the Arsenal-Newcastle game is 3-0. 3-0 to Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners. You get me? But yeah, man, other than that, stick a like on this video. Don't forget to support my YouTube channel on all social media platforms, whether it be Instagram, whether it be Snapchat, just all the social media apps, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, other than that, it's been your boy Wits Capone, and I'm out.